I'm not making any money. This is for educational purposes only. Fair use. Fair use.
Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kodash. Like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, to the elder apostles, bishops, and Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners, who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, your akhwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Ram Yahawada with the lesson. And there was I was listening to this Redacted Clayton, on Redacted, and there was an interesting part, so I went in a little bit in to it, so I'm not gonna go right at the beginning, but it was some things that was pretty interesting that he said, so I'm trying to get right to the point. Lord willing, this lesson be edifying and straight to the point.
Be just an add-on. It will be built into the network at every level. The system will make real-time decisions. It'll reroute traffic. It'll identify patterns. And by the way, it'll self-heal itself without a single human being even being involved in it. Skynet, I guess, right? So this network becomes autonomous. So in other words, this is the first time in history that we are creating a communication system that actually thinks for itself and heals itself. So how does the 6G actually work? Well, let's break this down. 5G runs mostly on sub-G 6 gigahertz and some millimeter wave frequencies. 6G leaps into the terahertz spectrum, roughly 100 times faster than 5G. But those frequencies can't travel far. They get blocked by like cement walls and trees. Even humidity blocks it. Good luck, Florida. So how do you actually blanket an entire country or the entire planet with something that barely travels and humidity gets in the way? Well, the answer is both ingenious and actually pretty terrifying. They're using reconfigurable intelligence surfaces. These are walls, windows, street signs, and everyday objects that are turned into active components of the network, capable of redirecting wireless signals like mirrors. In fact, one of the techs I spoke to about this said, just imagine walking down the street and every stop sign you see, every telephone pole you see, or every other metal pole you see right outside of your apartment would have one of these like 6G components on it. In other words, the environment becomes the network, with massive antenna grids, thousands, even millions of synchronized micro antennas that can track and beam signals directly to you with extreme precision. And 6G doesn't just broadcast, it actually targets, it actually shapes like the signal around you. And then, by the way, it follows you wherever you go. It adjusts itself automatically based on your environment, your movement, and your behavior. This is why surveillance experts are sounding the alarm, as you can imagine. 6G isn't just about faster phones, it's about the creation of a constantly sensing, constantly tracking digital ecosystem. So more about this AI native part of it, because it's important. AI changes everything, and 6G will, number one, predict your movement, anticipate traffic flow, detect behavioral anomalies, like we've been covering this, right? Oh, this person's like antisocial. This person doesn't leave their house on a regular basis. We should flag that. Maybe he's a terrorist. It'll also enforce automated restrictions. It'll also integrate with that digital ID system, of course, and it'll make split-second decisions without any human oversight. So this becomes
this is the Matrix, right after what's her name, Trinity told Neo that she was in love with a dead man, so he couldn't be dead, right? And she told him wake up, and then when he woke up, he could see the Matrix for what it is, right? And so when Clayton was speaking about how it's gonna go on every pole, every wall, every building. It's going to know wherever you at, the way you walk, the way you talk. It's going to be full surveillance because the 6G in itself is going to surveil you, right? And when he was saying that, this is what I thought about. I was like, oh my God, this is back in 1994 or whatever, 94, 95 or so, when this came out. And it was showing you what the 6G was going to be. And if you could see, beyond this, what he's saying 6G is going to be. It's going to be able to make a layout of your entire home, your car, the way you walk, the way you talk, everything is going to be full surveillance. Yeah, it'll make your phone operate faster. Yeah, it'll make, so-called things a little bit easier, but it's also going to make things difficult, because this is what they're speaking about transparency. They're going to know everything about you, and it's going to go so fast. It's going to be so responsive. It'll know what you buy, when you withdrew money, when you put money in, when you take it out. It's going to know exactly what you pay for, exactly the hour, and where exactly you were at when you did it, right? Showing the entire layout of where you're at and what you're doing, right? So I was like, wow. So this is basically what 6G is ultimately going to do, right? Yeah. So this is AI overview, right? 6G network.
Commercially, a core feature currently in development called Integrated Sensing and Communications, ISAC, is designed with the potential to know or sense its environment, including the location and activity around gates in an airport setting. Here is how this concept works and why it is being explored. Integrated Sensing and Communications, ISAC, this foundational 6G technology uses the same radio signals for both data transmission and environmental sensing, like radar. This allows the network infrastructure to detect objects, track movement, and map its surroundings. Airport use case, the 6G Sky project, involving partners like Scandinavian Airlines and Airbus, has successfully evaluated a solution using this concept at Stockholm Arlanda Airport. They used an enhanced 5G base station to collect radio frequency data and train a neural network to predict when ground equipment arrives and departs next to an aircraft during turnaround activities.
Right. Yeah, so this is AI overview. It says yes, technology released to the upcoming 6G standard will be capable of identifying a person's gait, right? Which is GAIT, not like how you spell a gate, like like a gate in front of your house, but GAIT says a walking pattern. This ability stems from advancements in millimeter waves. So you're talking minute waves, small, very small waves. It doesn't take a long time for it to come. Like the elder brother, one of the brothers spoke about, like the sonar was like in a submarine, and he was like, because that's basically like the wave link that it would do, like a radio wave, and it will take for it to be, you hear the boom, 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 and it was using the waves to be able to see what's on around it. But this is talking about basically millimeters, so it's gonna go bing, 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 hyper speeds, thousands of trillions and times fast, so that way it's able to bounce off of everything. Pretty much like I was just showing you on that matrix thing, showing you this. It showed the walls, the things, the ceiling, the roof, the floor, the people, exactly where they are. You know what I mean? Being able to show you as you're walking, right? Your walking pattern. That's the millimeter wave, wave, basically radio signaling and machine learning. It's going to be able to learn. It's what do they call it? Autonomous. It learns on its own. That's how smart it is, right? It says rather than being a direct feature, right? Because you could just be like an addentation and build something and you put it onto it and it works good because it's but it's just a feature. It's not the thing where it just incorporates the entire thing, where it's just based off of what it can do. You know what I mean? Right? And it says, yeah, learning rather than being direct feature of the 6G data transmission capability, right? And it's going to be able to just receive boom, 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 a trillion things every millimeter, which is not even a half a second, right? I believe that's what, I think that's a millimeter. I don't know if it's like a half a second or maybe even less than half of a second. So if you get a call or someone thinks of you, it would take, boom, less than a half a second. Well, this is where they probably be thinking about how, where they can do the Minority Report type situation, where you're right before, while you're thinking something, they can say, oh yeah, this person was thinking of doing X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. We can go arrest them because they were, you know, whatever. Because a lot of people are saying that. They said they were thinking of buying something, and your phone, next thing you know, you see the article on your phone. Well, this is the type of technology they're already capable, basically they're already using it. This is why it's happening.
You can't directly convert millimeters, which measure length, to seconds, which measure time. However, millimeters per second is a common speed measurement. For example, light travels 1 millimeter in about 1/299,792,458,000th of a second.
So yeah, see, and this is a tiny unit of a length, 1/1000th of a millimeter. Meter. So they're small, and radio waves normally are, you know, really big radio waves. Yeah. So this is AI overview. I'm just gonna.
Radio waves are generally larger than millimeter waves, which are a specific part of the radio spectrum. Standard radio waves can range from millimeters to kilometers, while millimeter waves, used in 5G, have wavelengths between 1 to 10 millimeters.
Right, which I believe now, because of 6G, it's going to be even faster than that. It'd be like 1 to 5 milliliters. It's going to be shorter distance, shorter wave distance, faster direct connect to whatever device. And it's going to be continuous, but not just to the device. It's going to be throughout the entire grid, which is, you know, everything's going to be the grid. The trees, the birds, like you're gonna be able to see, like, it's really gonna be the Matrix, right? Because if you could see, basically that's what happened with Neo, right? The Agent Smith, unalived him, and old girl spoke to him and said, "Hey, look, you're not dead. Come alive." And he was able to see the Matrix for what it was, and it's really that continuous 6G radio waves over everything, controlling everything, controlling the minds, the people, the condition, that whole mundane thing, in and out, day in, and people are just complying, right, with the status quo, right, because it sends those vibes, everything, right. Yeah, this is Psalms chapter 19, verse 1. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. The heavens declare the glory of power, the Most High Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah and the firmament showeth his handiwork, right? So you got the satellites, right? And not to mention just nature in itself, right? You have the stars, the sun, the moon, the animals, the birds, the bees, the things that declare Yahweh's handiwork, right? Yahweh Basham, Yahweh Shai's handiwork. Yeah, so this is Romans chapter 1, verse 20. For the invisible things of him, which is the Most High Yahweh, to his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls JC, right? From creation, the world are clearly seen, right? Because Yahweh Shai created that through the power of the Most High. Matter of fact, the Most High gave the blueprint to how Yahweh Shai, who the world would mistakenly call Jehovah or this and that. You think it's God, right? But the creation was through his Son, which is Yahweh Shai, right? When it said, let us make man in our image, we're speaking about Yahweh Shai and 144,000, right? Which followed him through the regeneration. And through the regeneration, the Lord gave David even the blueprint, just like he gave him the blueprint in the heavens to create the earth. He gave him the blueprint to create the temple when he came as Solomon, right? And being understood, right, by by the washing of the water by the word, right? The more and more you study, you understand the creation, understood by the things, and also by the things that are made, things that are around you every day. Like I said, 12 hours in a day, 12 hours in a day, 12 hours at night. The bees do this, the certain things do that. You can't mix certain species with another species to create another species, which that's what they want to do, but it's difficult to do. Even when they do something like that, the lifespan is not long. You can tell it's not of the Most High. I think they do the liger, but the liger lifespan is not. It's not a long lifespan, right? Right, because it's GMO basically. It's artificial, right? So when they try to do these things, it falls short of what the Most High design was meant to be, right? So you could clearly see, right, understand the things that are made, even His eternal power, the Godhead, the Most High Yahweh, so that they are without excuse. So you can see the birds and the bees, everything. You can see that it's an intelligent design. It can't be a Big Bang theory. It can't be Darwin's theory. It can't be any of these other things that they come up with, right? It has to be an intelligent design, just plain and simple. For forever, right? I like that, forever, right? Because that's what it is. The Most High is forever. He's the Ancient of Days. He's without time. Forever, since creation of the world, as in he as creation of the world, His invisible and at tributes, and that was my fault. Salakia.
Attributes,
Salakia. Attributes. His eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood through His workmanship, right? Like I said, the birds, the bees, all the things created. Matter of fact, even the Lord speaks about, I think it's in Apocrypha, it speaks about how a baby is in the womb and no one knows how the bones are formed within the womb. You were made, in your mother's womb 10 months. But how did the bones get there? How did all these things, come on. It's an intelligent design, right? Having been clearly seen, being understood through His workmanship, all His creation, the wonderful things that He has made, so that they who fail to believe, I like that. Those who fail to believe and trust in Him are without excuse and without defense. Ooh, nice. Yeah, you don't believe in this truth, and especially the way we teach it. If you don't believe in the way we teach it, you're going to be without a defense. You're going to be in trouble on that day, right? Yeah. Come back here to this Psalms 19 and 2. Because basically all the creation declares of the Most High's handiwork, but also because it's talking about what day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge, right? And how is that possible? Through the satellites, and which is also known, as the unicorn, right? Because that unicorn, right? Because it's like a one thing, and it shoots forth the vision, the rays, the streams, right? Radio waves, which are quickly going to become
small millimeter waves, which are going to be shorter, faster, direct to your device, right? Which through the YouTube, right, which done the heavy lifting, has done that thus far. Which there's going to be a time where the YouTube is going to be, I'm going to say shut off, but for the prophets, for the truth tellers, right? Even these so-called these whistleblowers, it's going to be to your detriment, right? Because it's going to make you an enemy of the universe, right? Because this is talking about a universal, because the Novos Ordo Seclorum, which is going to be a universal thing, right? Universal healthcare, universal social security, universal insurance, right? Though you can't move anywhere in the universe, right? They're going to tie you to your 15-minute city or your hour-minute city, however it is, because, certain places are a lot bigger and further from each other. So you have your 15-minute city, your hour city. And, yeah. So this is what they're using, the satellites to make a digital prison. But on the right-hand side, it's been pushing forth the truth to awaken the sons of the power, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? Yasha Allah, sons of the power, right? It says there is no speech nor language where their voices is not heard, right? And that's through the YouTube, and you have what, Rumble, the Odyssey, and then there's other little streaming platforms that people are creating. It says their line is gone out to all the earth, right? And that's dealing with the satellites, right? Because the what do they call it? Internet, right? Meaning ter, which means terrain, and net being the net to gather in. And so we're gathering in on the right hand side, the sons of the power, but on the left hand side, they're gathering in a what do you call it? Totalitarian, speaking as a dragon, shutting down free speech. But and it says their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world, right? And that's through the satellites, through the unicorn. In them have he set the tabernacle, right? Which is tabernacle meaning the congregation. He set, so therefore the Lord is gathering the Israelites, right? To the four winds of the earth, to the four corners of the earth, throughout all the earth, through the the internet, right? Or the World Wide Web, right? Right? And it's being gathered in, right? Tabernacle for the Son, right? Right, which is Yahweh Shai, ultimately is because they put SUN, but they do that on purpose, these because they had our books, so they add in SUN when it should be just SON. They add in children when it should say sons, right? Let me see if I should, right? Because I'm gonna go ahead and continue with this right here, which is as a bridegroom coming, because ultimately we're gathering. Well, not we're gathering. We're just a vessel, Salakia. But Yahweh Shai is gathering through the word that elect, right? Coming, because the bridegroom is Yahweh Shai, and which is as a bridegroom coming, which is Yahweh Shai, out of his chamber. See, and when the Most High tells him to it's time to gather, Yahweh Shai is going to be here quick, fast, right? That's when all things are going to commit, right? Because they're going to use the 6G to push the the MOTB, right? And that's when Yahweh Shai is going to come out of his chambers, right? And rejoice as a strong man that run a race, right? See? And he's going to run fast. Hey, he's going to be here quick. He's going to be as a strong man running a race. He's going to come here super fast and to cause the damage to this place, right? Because, yeah, so this is Revelation chapter 18, verse 9. It says, and the kings of the earth, right? Because they're in, they had a confederation with the whore, which is America. They had a confederation with Edom, right? All the nations of the earth had a confederation with Edom against the children of Israel, right? They even sent the children of Israel one to another as gifts. But, this whole thing is what Yahweh Shai's, the bridegroom, which is Yahweh Shai, is coming, man. And he's coming fast. He's coming powerful, mighty, like a strong man, right? Who said the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, which is the whore, the Babylon, right? Which is America. They made all these backdoor deals, these underhanded demising things, especially against the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian and you Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel, right? And they know things about you. They done investigations. They, they're wiser than Daniel, right? Their heart is deep. Who could know them? Because they're thinking of ways that they can keep this this strange upside down utopia alive, because it's a utopia for them, where the top 1% is rich and wealthy and fine and never have any worries, while the majority of the citizens of the world, right, the people of the world, right, which citizens mean slaves, right, in their case, because you're just a slave, you're nothing, you're goyim, right, or without, right, they rob, these are people who are filthy rich and wealthy, but they rob the poor, right, and they live deliciously with her. She be well shall bewail her, right? They're gonna cry over her because what? The making the money and things in here when the ICBM, hypersonic intercontinental ballistic missiles, wipe this place and turn it to a desert, and no one can ever shop and commerce and be a just a consuming demon, right? Everything's just about consuming here, right? Self-absorbed consuming society. They're gonna weep over it, right? Because it's a bunch of suckers. You could sell them a bunch of garbage, and you just keep making your money, Shall bewail and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, right? Which is the ICBMs, right? The hypersonic intercontinental ballistic missiles. Also was Putin got one that's combust or propelled by nuclear power, right? Which is going to move, which moves even faster and will not run out of steam, right? So to speak. And which it says, stand afar off for the fear of her torment, right? Because then this place gets turned into the lake of fire, which eventually, it's going to burn and burn and burn and burn for quite some time. And when it finally stops burning, it's only going to be good for desert creatures. That's it. No one's going to live here. Saying, alas, alas, that great city, Babylon, which is talking about America, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And that's what Yahweh Shai is coming to do. Real fast. 1 hour. Wipe you out. So this is Matthew chapter 13, verse 47. Again, the kingdom of heaven, right? Giving an example, right? A parable. The kingdom of heaven is like unto a net, right? Like the internet, right? Same thing we're reading, right? And then, the World Wide Web, it's like a web. It's like a net. It's grabbing in the good, right? But the, of course, the elite on the left-hand side, they use it to gather in too, right? Gathering all the sellouts, right? The apostle said this is the year of apostates, sellouts, and people that's gonna just basically tell on you, right? Because it says when the scriptures say that when it's hard times, uh, they should give you up to the authorities. So we're in that time that they're gonna give you up to the authorities, right? Even your own family, let alone someone who's around you who may or may not whatever. And now all of a sudden they're like was it Hashar, Deacon Akkad and Hassad, yeah. I never was fully persuaded. Well, the scriptures tell you before you shouldn't even been out there teaching then, bro. The Lord said, unless you're fully persuaded in your own mind, you must be fully persuaded. So no way I'm going to listen to someone who's not fully persuaded. When you listen to Apostle Tahar, and definitely when you listen to Apostle Gabar, you know he is fully persuaded, right? Those are two men that's fully persuaded in what they're doing, right? Not to say that Apostle Tahar ain't the same as Apostle Gabar, but the way Apostle Gabar push it out, you could just sense it, you could feel it. This is a guy, man. Truly, man. You want to be like, you want to have that unmovable faith too, right? You pray for that, man. Unmovable, like King David. King David said he's gonna be unmovable, right? You want that unmovable faith, right? But this is what the kingdom of heaven is like. Same thing. It's basically speaking to you about like the internet, right? Because like the internet, it goes out, it's cast out as unto a net that was cast into the sea meaning the world, right? Or amongst the people, right? Because sea meaning people, when you go into was it Revelation 17, sea meaning the people, and gather every kind, right? Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Yeah, so there's Revelation chapter 17, verse 1 says, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore, which is talking about Babylon, which is America, right? The daughter of Babylon, that sitteth upon many waters, right? And it doesn't say sea, but we know that there's seven seas to make many waters, right? There's seven seas upon the earth and to make many waters, which that's what they do. They use the oceans to make merchandise, right? Trading, traffic, right? It's where you get that's where you get the word, traffic, right? Because they trade, right? Via through the, and 17 and 15, Revelation 17:15, and he saith unto me, the waters which thus sawest were where the whore satteth are peoples, right? So those waters are peoples, and multitude, and nations, and tongues. Show you that it's talking about the people. Yeah, I did all that just to show you that it's casting into the sea and gather every kind, which talking about people, right? Which when it was full, they drew to the shore and sat down and gathered the good into a vessel, but the bad they cast away. You throw it back into the sea. Excuse me. Which that's what means get cast back into the world, right? That's what we say when they went back into the world, get cast back into the sea, back into the world. That's so shall it be at the end of the world. The angel shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just. See? And there's no way that Edomite's going to get beamed up with you, because the Lord has to sever the evil from amongst, or the wicked from amongst the just. And the Edomite is definitely wicked, right? These other heathen nations, and even 2/3 of Israel is going to be wicked. There's no way a heathen going to be able to just read the Bible all of a sudden you're good. Not to mention your whole time you're saying that the Old Testament's done away with. You're saying this. You're saying the Israelites are done away with, right? You're the new spiritual Israelites. So how the hell are you gonna? You mean you're trying to disannul what the Most High set up, right? And not even considering the Israelites first. I mean, who are they? Who are the true Israelites first? Right? You might want to put them in their state first before even thinking about that you can make it. Which that's a farce. Anyways, it's just something that, cunning devised fables that these guys are coming up with. But I mean, just saying, if you truly believe that was real, then you would know that the Lord is gathering His people first. It says He's going to raise up the tents of Judah first. So where is that tents of Judah first? Right? You know it can't be the people over there because they're not gathering all of Israel to them. Right? You're supposed to have the rite of passage to go back home, and then they're denying you. They're G-siding the goddamn Palestinians. Yeah. And shall cast them into the furnace of fire, right? Which is the ICBM missiles, right? Which is going to turn this place into the lake of fire. And there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth, right? And that's the time that you're fastly approaching on, right? But the wicked has that same type of sentiment on the left hand side. They're gathering to them. Who's gonna who's going to abide by their program? And really, they're gonna make it non-negotiable, right? That's what they're talking about, right? It says Acts chapter 4 verse 23, and being let go, they went to their own company and reported all that the chief priests and elders had said unto them, right? And so this is the time of what says apostates and basically sellouts at the end of the day, right? People are reporting on you, right? Snitches, so to speak. But they're not calling it. It's a silent witness, or whatever. However they want to do it, But it's so they can speak out against the truth, And it says, and when they heard that, they lifted up their voice to the power with one accord and said, Lord, thus are the power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, which have made heaven and the earth, right? Going back to that, the Lord made everything, the heaven and the earth and the sea, being the actual sea this time, right? And all that in them, all that in them is. Slakia. And all that in them is. Who by the mouth of thy servant David, right, had said, why did it the heathen rage? And see, and ultimately that's what this thing is about. They're here to bring in, agents, right? Agents of provocateur, or just agents collecting information, right? And they want to blame the ministry. They're looking for something, to come up against. And even if they got to make it up, that's what they're going to do, to come against the elect, right? Well, which will be the elect, the hopeful elect, which will be the elect. You know, and that's what they're doing. They're raging. So they're going to use the internet on the left hand side to try to bring it in. No, not try to bring it. They're going to bring it in, but it's going to all fit prophecy as far as being what the famine of the word, right? It's going to bring in the famine of the word. So ultimately, it's going to allow prophecy to pass by, which is going to what? Time is already speeding up. It's going to speed it up that much more, right? And the people imagine a vain thing. See, like they figure if they just stop, if they use the internet, we're not going to shut down the internet, but they're going to corner the market, so to speak. They're going to say what you can say or what you can't say via through the internet. The internet will be filled with just videos of cats, you know, you know. That's it. Cats and people playing video games. That's when you watch the thing. That's all you be looking at. You know, people hung up on the dating game, which the dating game is done. So they might show a bunch of dating shows, which more of those balloon shows or something, which are stupid because it's going nowhere, right? So this is the things that the heathen. Why are they raging? They're gonna shut down what they call free speech and basically corner the market, so to speak, using their apostates, their sellouts, and their agents, to come against the truth. It says that the kings of the earth stood up and the rulers were gathered together. See, and that's what they've been doing. They did that before, and they're gonna do it again, right? Right? Because one thing they're in agreement against is the Israelites. Now they may be bickering and beefing over Esau. Think he could just come in and just take their resources and then leave their land like a barren wasteland, and leave them without. So they say, that ain't gonna happen to us. We don't agree with that. But we can't agree with keeping those those niggas, so to speak, in their place, right? Because they know that we're the Israelites, right? So they have to gather all at the end. They're gonna use this technology, use it to palantir, right? It's open surveillance, complete. I mean, the internet in itself is surveillance in you. It'll be able to see through your walls, this and that. But they're gonna attach some more things, with hyperthermal cameras and heat sensors, different things, drones, mechanics, all sorts of things. Ultimately, even the micro C hip within your right hand and your forehead to control everything, know your every move, everything. And they're gonna sell it off as something good. Oh no, we can know when you're sick before we can know before you're sick, and we'll administer the medicine so that way we'll give it to you before you're even sick. But they're not gonna account for the grievous sore, right? That's gonna be making people sick because people are gonna get the ohms. I think it's the ohms or ohms of the vibration of 6G is too much. That in itself is gonna unalive people, right? But they're gathering together against the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, and against Yahweh Hamashiach, right? Against Yahweh and against Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, against Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, for the truth, of a truth against the holy child Yahweh Shai, whom thus has anointed both Herod and Pontius Pilate with the Gentiles, right? These other heathen nations, showing you that these are Edomites, but the Edomites with the other Gentile nations and the people of Israel, right? You 2/3 Israelites, you sellouts, you apostates, you agents, because that's who can get close to you. Your own people can get close to you, smile in your face, because hey, how you doing? Hey, what up, brother? Shalom, brother. What's going on? Going, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna go camp. Oh, brother, and see, and sometimes the people who you know, who's ultimately are already in your camp, bro. these a lot of these people are already in your camp, right? Because you got to think of even Yahweh Shai. I mean, he was able to read. He knew what the dude was there for, but he was in the camp, right? So these are things you have to look. You have to pay attention to, and you got to be aware of, right? That's the condition of the battle, right? These Gentiles with the Gentiles and the people of Israel were gathered together, right? Come up against this truth, right? So this is Matthew chapter 10, verse 17. But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the counselors, and they will scourge you in their synagogues, which that's what happened to Yahweh Shai, right? They were beating them, they were buffering them, as it says, they were beating them, they were scourging them, and then they delivered them to Pontius Pilate, right? And that's basically the same thing they may do to you. Gather you up, beat you to carry you in, right? Because they want some more digital shekels, right? Because you can get points or whatever. You can get digital credit, I guess, whatever you want to, however, whatever they call it, right? If you turn in certain people, because they was even showing that with China. You got to watch out what you're doing, because if someone takes a picture and sends it into the authority, it says something about they get like 50 digital shekels or 50 digital credits or whatever it is, and it's like really like a truly a dog eat dog world when it comes to that, because there's really no honor at all, right? And that's what they're coming to. They're making a snitch culture, right? Right? You can't trust any. That's kind of what they were doing the CV-19, making it where you can't trust anybody. Oh, he coming around this person. Oh, shit. You can't trust nobody. Oh, that person, tell on anybody if you see him without their face covered. They were kind of pushing that there then. But how much more now, where people are going to be dropping to the bottom of society, and the only way to so-called climb back out is to basically to tell, right? And if some people are already worried now, you ain't even got to that part yet, and they're already selling out. Now they're trying to say that Edomite can get on the chariot when you get on the chariot. Well, how is that when the angels are severing the wicked from the just? It's impossible. So, let me continue on. It says, and ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, and this is for the Lord's sake. So this is the condition of the battle. That's one thing you have to remember too, right? So what if you got these sellouts and apostates and things amongst you? Yeah, you do got to vet things and try to make it to the best of your ability. I mean, the Lord did just say that. He said, be aware. But the main thing is, obviously, it's going to happen. Look what the Lord's saying. This is the condition of the battle. And ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, which is Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai's sake, for a testimony. Right? This is good. It's actually a good thing. Because before, when you think about this thing, it kind of scares you a little bit. But when you read this, it's like, oh, okay. Oh, in that case, that's not a bad thing. Okay, it's for a testimony against them. Against you Israelites, you 2/3 Israelite, it's going to be a testimony against you. And that's going to not be a good testimony, man. Right? Your sins are going to be a witness against you. It's not going to be a good testimony. And the heathen and the Gentiles and these heathen nations, right? Starting with Esau. Especially you, Esau. You're not going to get away. No matter how many people you manipulate. Right? And that's proving that right there. That verse right there, verse 18, proves no matter how many people you manipulate, it's going to be a witness against you. It's going to be a testimony. That's what a testimony is. It's a witness. Right? Yeah, so this is Matthew 10, 18, blue letter, transliteration. I'm going to get understanding more on that testimony, because I believe it means witness.
Strong's G 3142. Marturion. Marturion.
Marturion, right? Marturion. Testimony. Says transliteration counts. It's 20 different counts and a different G. Yeah, because one of the accounts, yeah, it says testimony 5 times, witness 4 times. Right? Which that's basically what it means. It's like a witness. All right, let's go into the etymology, which is supposed to be deeper, like the true meaning of the word. Right?
Strong's G 3144. Martus. Martus.
Okay. Hey, see, now I'm actually starting to really understand this now. Yeah, because martus is going to martyr, right? Martus, right? Witness, right? So, the Lord said, yeah, you're going to be a martyr for my name's sake. Right? You're going to be a witness. Yeah, see, right here, right there, it says witness. All right, see. Yeah, okay, yeah. I guess that's why you're supposed to really read over this, because, it's kind of giving me comfort even while I'm reading this, when I'm thinking about it, because I was thinking, dang, one thing I don't want to do is get caught. I don't want to go through all that, but like reading this, it makes sense, because the Lord has to be true. What's written has to be made true and not a lie. So somebody's going to have to be a martus, a martyr, right? To be a witness in a legal sense, or in a historical sense. One who is a spectator of everything, right? And that's what the Lord says, be ignorant of no matter. And that's one thing you have to be not ignorant of. There's a chance that you may be a martyr. You may very well be one of the ones that get grabbed up and then beheaded, right? And it may not come in that fashion, that fast. It does says you should be in prison 10 days, which that's not an amount of a correct amount of number. You're not saying is that going to be exactly 10 days, but in the time that you're in there, who knows what they're doing to you, And then when you keep on refusing, then they say, hey, yeah, go get the guillotine, put them in the thing, make sure everybody sees it, so they can say this is what happens to you when you deny whatever Universal Federation, World Health, World Economic, World, whatever they want to come up with. I don't know. I'm just thinking of some stuff in my head, but these are some of the things that they may come up, universal, whatever, saying whatever type of federation they're down with, right? Whatever they make up, but you're not supposed to be ignorant of no matter, right? Right? In an ethnic sense, right? See, an ethical sense, right? Those who after his example have proved the strength and genuineness of their faith. Oh, see, and that's ultimately what it's going to be. You have to prove and have a genuineness of your faith in Hamashiach Yahushai by undergoing a violent death. So that's pretty much inevitable, right? That's what the Lord's saying. That's going to happen for His name's sake. So yeah, you definitely got to vet people, because the Lord says that to not be quick to give any man credit. So you got to do that, but it's inevitable. Something's definitely going to happen. Somebody's definitely going to be grabbed up and undergoing a violent death. It's just the nature of the battle, because the nature of the beast. He's always been violent. Yeah. So this is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 70. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities, right? And this is going to be happening in every place in Babylon, which really every place in the world. But the main place that we're speaking about, because the bulk of the Israelites have to be saved out of Babylon, right? The bulk of the Israelites are here in Babylon. The focus of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is Babylon, which is America, the daughter of Babylon. The great insurrection, see? And that's what it is. That's going to be the great insurrection. It's going to be here in Babylon, right? The daughter of Babylon, which is America, upon those that fear Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. See? And that's ultimately what it is. See, they have you're going to be a martyr for sure. In one way or another, they're coming against you. They have to buck up and come against this truth. Why? Because this truth is eating them up. They're being exposed, right? Their garment is moth eaten, right? So to speak. It's putting holes in their lies, right? It's tearing down strongholds, right? Strongholds being in the people's mind about Cesare Borgia, who they call JC, right? With all the what they think is called God or even country, right? You find out that your God and country has nothing to do with you. They don't love you, right? You know. But we're coming back as Israelites, no matter what. The Lord is gathering the elect, and ain't nothing you can do to stop that. But there's going to be a great insurrection upon those that fear the Adawan, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kalkadash. They shall be like madmen, and that's what they're going to do. They use the internet, use their palantir, use their hopsir, right? Right? Palantir basically means to foresee, right? To be like a prophet, to be their seer. And then they have their hopsir, meaning gospel, which they use that to be the prototype of the palantir to create that the grid surveillance, right? And they're gonna let the AI basically attack the citizens, come against the citizens. You broke Federation Universal Law, Section 8125, whatever. You're in penalty of whatever. And this would, and they're gonna be, well, they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling, right? Because with all the jobs that people are losing, they ain't done spoiling you, right? They ain't done spoiling you. Because that's why they think about it. They're making even homelessness to be illegal. So now they're not done spoiling you, right? But shall spoil and destroy those that fear Yahweh, the other one, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Kalkadash. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses, right? So even if you got a tent and you're on the side of the road and they've already made you lose your job. You was a middle class person. You were doing very well. Now you're on the side of the road and that ain't enough. It ain't no enough, right? They're going to cast you out your tent. Nope. Section article such and such by the Federation of the Universal whatever. You're in violation. Oh, you didn't get the micro C-hip. You don't have your digital ID. You're not in compliance, right? You're going to be cast out of their houses. It says, then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire, right? Going through these hard conditions, right? Because as soon as they put their hands on the elect, you're going to know the difference between those who were just pretending to be and those who are. And the Lord is going to lift up a standard. Hey, and all things are going to change, right?
Palantir is a company that many people have heard of, but they don't know exactly what it does. Today I'm going to explain how Palantir has become a key part of the U.S. military-industrial complex and how its corporate executives profit from war. Now, Palantir is a company that provides software primarily to Western governments, especially the U.S. government. It has been given huge contracts from the U.S. military and the Department of Homeland Security and the notoriously violent immigration agency, ICE. Palantir is involved in mass surveillance and so-called predictive policing, which is exactly the kind of thing we were warned about in dystopian science fiction movies. And the majority of Palantir's revenue comes from government contracts. The executives of Palantir are extremely hawkish, especially Palantir's CEO, Alex Karp, who's a warmonger constantly pushing for more war. In fact, he has said very openly that he expects that in the near future, the US is going to be fighting a three-front war against Russia, Iran, and China. And it's not an exaggeration to say that Palantir is preparing the US government for World War III, and it hopes to profit and make a lot of money, especially by saber-rattling against China. Palantir is also very close to the Donald Trump administration. Trump has given Palantir tons of contracts for multiple different US government agencies. And in particular, the Trump administration is relying on Palantir to conduct mass surveillance of Americans, of US citizens, to compile and synthesize data from all US government agencies in order to help the government spy better on its own citizens. And because Palantir is so close to Trump and his allies, as soon as Trump won the presidential election in November 2024, Palantir's stock skyrocketed and broke records as investors assumed correctly that the Trump administration would give more and more contracts to Palantir. However, it soon became clear that Palantir stock was extremely overvalued, with price to earnings ratios that were absolutely off the charts and did not make any sense. They were completely illogical based on manic speculation. It was in a bubble, and that bubble popped in November 2025, a year later, especially when renowned investors like Michael Burry of the movie The Big Short announced that he was shorting Palantir's stock. And this freaked out Palantir's corporate executives, especially the CEO, Alex Karp. Palantir is a company that